Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a 37-year-old trans man in Perth, Western Australia, and I'm currently in the early stages of my transition. This is the first of what I hope will become a series of informative videos dealing with female to male transitioning and all the stuff that goes with it. Right now I've been on T for 3 months. I started on the 30th of May on a very low dose of Andromen cream, which is 2% of testosterone, and I've gradually increased the doses over the last 3 months rather than just starting straight out on 100 milligram shots of Sustanon. There's several reasons why I've chosen to do it this way. Firstly, I'm a singer with a fairly good range, and I wanted to maintain a good singing voice. When you start on the shots of T, this is a lot more difficult to do because of the changes that T causes very rapidly to the vocal cords. They tend to thicken up and harden very, very fast. And typically this causes a trans guy to lose the entire middle range of his voice, so that anything above middle C has to be sung in falsetto. And being a singer, for me, that would not be a very good thing. And I definitely didn't want it. Singing for me is very, very important. It's a mode of emotional expression that I find very useful, and I just really enjoy it. So I didn't want to lose that. So by starting on a very low dose and gradually kicking it up, I've given my vocal cords a bit of extra time to adjust to the changes, and so far I like the way that it's going. Secondly, another reason why I've had to sort of do it this way is that I have a 20+ year history of severe clinical depression and anxiety, which a lot of was actually caused by being trans and not realising it. But given that testosterone can cause a lot of mood swings and anger or aggression problems, and it can aggravate depression, I didn't want to risk anything that would undermine my stability because I have children. And I didn't want this to be any rockier a ride than it needs to be, because it's already a little bit tricky to negotiate as is. And basically I didn't want to undermine my own chances of dealing with this in a really good way by triggering any depression or anger or whatever, that would make things harder to handle. So the depression was actually the biggest concern that my team, as I call them, had. That is, the gender therapist that I see, my regular psychotherapist, and my doctor, who are all backing me. But so far, again, because I've taken it slowly and allowed my body and mind some time to adjust to the changes that the testosterone brings with it, the depression and mood swings and all that stuff have basically been a complete non-issue for me. The most important reason, though, that I've had for me to actually go slowly on this with the T and start is my kids. Long story short, not all of them actually live with me, and the ones who don't, most of them I very rarely actually see. So I wanted to give them a bit of time and space to be able to adjust to the idea that I'm trans, first and foremost, and to adapt to the changes that they're all going to see. I didn't want to see them kind of once while I was in preteen mode, the mode that they were used to, and then not see them for months at a time, and then all of a sudden see them again, and the next time they see me, I'm totally masculinized and looking and sounding like a completely different person and freak them out, So overall, though, the kids, I have to say, have been very cool about the whole deal. A couple of hiccups with the teenagers using my gender issues as a weapon when they crack the shits with me, but that's teenagers for you, I think. Generally, they've been very accepting of it. Although one or two of them still have a couple of pronoun issues, but I think that's more to do with the environment that they're actually living in rather than anything else. I think I've done a pretty reasonable job of teaching them to be tolerant and accepting of all kinds of differences, in spite of the efforts of other family members and whatnot to undo it and teach them prejudice and hatred. So anyway, I started with my first shot of the Sustanon today. I'll now be having those every fortnight, along with a bunch of blood work quite regularly to monitor my T levels, my cholesterol, liver function, because T is metabolized by the liver, and a heap of other stuff. I am so excited about all of this, about finally being on the big boy dose, and I can't wait to see all the changes that it will bring. Even on the lower doses, I've noticed a lot of changes so far. more muscle bulk. I've put on about 5 kilos in a couple of weeks. That's 11 pounds for you non-metric people. I've also got a lot more facial hair and body hair, like on my legs and on my belly, and yeah, it's very hard to see though because it is quite pale blonde, but I do have a lot on my upper lip and a lot of hair on my jawline. Yeah, my voice has definitely become noticeably lower in pitch since I've been on the tea. I'm now pretty much constantly hungry, but I do have to watch what I eat now because otherwise I will pile on the kilos. I used to have really bad mood swings and depression before I started on the tea, but since I've been even on the low doses, both of those problems have completely leveled out, and I'm feeling incredibly stable and happy, and I have to say that's the first time in my entire 37 years that I've had that, so that is awesome. Before starting the tea, I used to have basically nothing but bad days, and the best it ever got was kind of really mediocre. Now I have good days and better days, and the worst I get is maybe a mediocre patch of an hour or so in a really good day. And my previous mood swings, well, they've leveled out completely to the point where I am now literally so laid back I'm almost horizontal. You know, things that used to really, really bug me before I was on the tea, they just don't push my buttons anymore. They don't even register on the radar, basically. So I just don't pay them any attention. Although I have to say that I've noticed that my tolerance level for assholes and pretty much posers and bullies has dropped to absolute zero. And I will pull anyone up who pulls that stuff around me instantly because I just won't have it. I think my approach to dealing with people who think it's funny to be an asshole to a trans person has changed a bit too. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of having a snappy comeback because that tends to sort of stop people in their tracks. But now I literally have the muscle to back the mouth. And unlike I used to, I won't start things, but if someone starts it, by the gods, I'll finish it. Well, that's about it for my introduction for now. I hope to post some regular videos, maybe around the time of each of my shots, with updates on how it's all going, maybe discuss a few of the issues and stuff that comes up for trans guys at various stages of the transition with all of you. I'm pretty much an open book, so if any of you out there have any questions, legitimate questions, please, sorry, had to add that, that you want to ask about any aspect of being a trans man or dealing with any of the things that come up around transitioning or family or anything else, feel free to fire away with your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them for you all. If I don't know, I'll go away and research it for you, and I'll come back and we'll both learn something. So I guess that's it for now. I'll see you all next time I have something to report. Bye.